Hello, gentle viewers. This is Indian, welcoming you to a new episode of Out of the Park Baseball 19. This was perhaps the most frustrating season in a series of frustrating seasons, but we can't say that we didn't expect it. Dave Stewart, I believe, was injured past season, and so we got some decisions to make. But let's take a quick look at what we've actually accomplished with the Toronto Blue Jays, just to put things in perspective. So we need to see Doctor of Indian. So this is going to be our 10th season in Major League Baseball with the Toronto Blue Jays. Of those seasons, we have spent exactly 2 below 500. We almost won 100 games once, and we've made the playoffs once. And so this is a season that we have a chance to get maybe a slightly better draft pick and maybe come away with a couple of good players. Because we have 2 first-rounders this year because we chose not to sign Luis Alicea last year. But we do have an issue. This is that issue. We have no money for free agents and no money for extensions because our payroll keeps going up. So the first thing we need to do is we need to look at our salary arbitration and decide who's not worth keeping around. We're not going to get any contracts for either of them, so I don't care. Jay Davison might be an interesting reliever, and it costs me nothing other than putting him on the 40-man to keep him, so we'll do that. No one else here is really worth getting all fired up about. Damn, we're losing a lot of people to minor league free agency. I guess that's good, so... and yeah, both those guys kind of suck. I think we might have to think long and hard about Heckman, but let's start with Richard Evans. So Evans is a good all-around pitcher, and he's been a productive member of the bullpen the last 2 to 3 seasons. He thinks he's going to be in the starting rotation, now with 24 stamina, mate. Let's talk... we can't do an extension. Basically, unless we offer him the arbitration estimate, we actually can't give it to him. So let me see if I can get him to take $150,000. It's not much, but it'll save us some. No. He wants a lot of money. Let's try 160. He'll take 160. It's a slight savings, but it is a savings. Thomas Heckman. Heckman hasn't pitched much. And that may mean that he's just suffering because he's not getting enough of a chance. But here's the thing. He strikes out a lot of people, but walks a lot too. His peripherals suggest that maybe 1986 was just an unlucky year for him, except for the home run rate. We have a pretty flawed reliever here that wants quite a jump in salary. Would you take $100,000? I would pay that much for you, but no more. Yeah, you're wanting way too much money. I like his talent, but so far, our budget is so razor thin right now that unless we dump a lot of salary, I can't really afford to waste money on a player I don't think is going to be helpful. Heckman has one above average stat, which is his ability to strike people out. Wasaki at least has 2. Wasaki keeps it in the ballpark, which is important, and he strikes people out a fair amount. I think he's the better risk, and so I'm going to go ahead and non-tender Heckman, saving us some cash. And then let's see if we can't get Wasaki to come down a bit in his price. Let's go for 112. No. 120? No. 125. I know I'm kind of splitting hairs at this point. He'll take 125. It's not much of a savings, but it is a savings. We are wildly overpaying for a backup catcher. And all I really care about from a backup is the ability to maybe run into a couple of baseballs, but mostly I care about defense. I'm going to non-tender Wilfredo Martinez. This is about saving money so we can maybe add a cheap free agent or two. We have seen what Jay Greb can do with a baseball bat, and it's not super encouraging. And on this team, he's hugely overexposed. And he wants $150,000. But he does get on base, and he is one of the better infielders I've got. Would you take 130? Could I give you another contract for the same amount? Oh, you think you're getting... No, I'm just going to non-tender you. If you think you're getting anywhere near $200,000, you're not worth it. Alright. That's going to shed some payroll. I think the other thing that would be a useful thing to do in this offseason, we need to look hard at our team. Who on the team is too expensive given what they actually provide to the team, so we can try to save some cash. Because this decision is coming up. And Dom Mattingly would be fantastically stupid or the greatest team player in human history to turn down opting out. And I don't want to lose Dom Mattingly. I'd actually rather lose Chili Davis if I had to pick. And I think we do have to pick. Here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to go ahead and advance up to free agency just to see once people's salaries clear off how much we've got to play with. And we might see if we get... we also need to increase, I think, ticket prices. How much are the Yankees charging? Again, I'm using the Yankees as... They're charging twice as much as we are. As good as this team has been, I think we can afford to charge $4 a ticket. It's a substantial increase, I know. But I think it's fair. I mean, we've had the number one attendance in the American League, I think, for the last couple of years. We need more revenue if we're going to be able to afford everything. Now, we've also got to hire some new personnel. We need a new bench coach. We need a new team trainer. We could just promote Bob Chavez. He really gets along with pitchers, it looks like. What about Mike Howells? Howells is a bit more of a challenging person. I'm going to go ahead and promote Bob Chavez. I mean, he's actually won a couple of championships with us. Well, he's won a couple of championships here. I'm going to go ahead and make him the bench coach in Toronto. And now let's see how he actually gets along with our players. Chili Davis doesn't like him much. Neither does Von Hayes, but everyone else seems to like him okay. I think he's more of a pitcher's type coach. Yeah, he likes pitching more than hitting, so they're going to like him more. That's fine. We do need a new team trainer, and this is a position we can't skimp on. So one of the commenters recommended maybe turning down the injuries. I personally think that almost makes the game a little too easy, but we might consider it at some point. Oh god, this guy's amazing. But he's better. I don't care if he has 4 legendary stats. Being bad at preventing leg injuries is going to undercut a lot of that. We're going to go and hire Brian Black. 5 years. I don't want you going to anybody else. Okay. So, I think we're going to have a choice. Don Mattingly, how is your personality? He's such an amazing player. If Tom Mattingly opts out and we can't afford to re-sign him, we might tank for a season. Because the only way to get a player of Mattingly's caliber back is to get rid of Don Mattingly. The alternative, of course, is trying to trade a couple of other players. I think I've been putting too many opt-outs in. That's my fault. Von Hayes is going to be an amazing first baseman. Alright. If I had to choose between Hayes, Stewart, or Mattingly, of those three, I would pick Mattingly. Because Mattingly is younger, and he's won 5 out of the past 6 batting titles. He's everything we want in an offensive player. Maybe we'd like to see more 30-homer seasons, but I'm not going to be too fussed about it. He's amazing. And he, right now, is the most important player on our team. And so we've got to keep him happy. Cal Ripken was a nice little move, but I am a bit worried that he's not going to be quite as effective as we thought. Before we do anything else, let's actually take a look, because we didn't do this yet. I always forget this. How did we do last year? Chili Davis was amazing. Wow. He literally did everything you could possibly be expected to do as a baseball player. Shit. Almost 40 homers, 329 batting average, led the league in slugging and OPS and WAR. Damn. Mattingly was real good. Von Hayes was real. Let's talk Darryl Strawberry. So this was Darryl Strawberry's first full year with the team, and he definitely turned in the kind of performance I thought he'd be capable of. Lots of power, a decent amount of plate discipline, struck out a bunch, but that's part of the cost of doing business. I think he could be better than this, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's not a lot better. With this amount of power, he should be able to hit 40 or even 45 homers at some point. But you know, Cal Ripken was a bit of a disappointment with us. But if he turns in another batting line like Adler with Detroit, he's going to be more than worth it. Because he's got a very expensive contract, which thankfully is being partially eaten by the Tigers. Jim Rice turned in another good season, but he was also injured. What do we do with Tony Phillips? Oh, he's injured, I bet. We're going to need to take him off the DL. Then there's Schofield. Then there's Dana Robinson, who is just awful. Like, really bad. We have a lot of work to fill out the roster, but I do think the cream of the crop is still quite good. Schofield was very productive last season, although, again, it was mostly defense. Yeah, we still have a lot of work to do, but we have some really good pieces. Pitching-wise, always war, because it's a good thing to look at here. Yeah, Dave Stewart, we lost the entire season. The loss of Dave Stewart is why we finished where we did. And I don't think there's a moment's hesitation about that. Falcone was real good. Morgan, not so much. What happened this year? Strikeouts ticked off. Now, we're spending a lot of money on Morgan. He has to be at least a number 2, if not a number 3 starter. This is okay, but it's not great. Falcone was amazing. And he's one that we're going to be losing, and we might want to consider flipping. So I think our biggest consideration right now is, are we a team that's still only a player or 2 away, or are we going to start reloading? Are we going to start trading people while we can still get something of value for them? And that's a decision that's something I don't have an answer for yet. Alan Anderson turned in a nice rookie season. It could be better, but it's his first season in the major leagues, and he's the best we have in terms of young pitching. We'll make some other decisions, too, as we need to. But we need our rotation to be healthy. I think that's the key, and if we can accomplish that, we'll be in a lot better shape. Right. Let's go ahead and advance up to the arbitration hearings. We'll probably get a couple of emails from people. Yeah, both our guys signed extensions. That's good. We saved a little bit of money in arbitration, and then our other guys walking will free up some salary. Cherry Coke. And we got our trainer. You can't pay trainers too much. It's not possible. A really good trainer is the most valuable thing in baseball. At least in OOTP 19. I want to see if Chili Davis wins the MVP. What jerk face won the MVP ahead of Chili Davis? Really? Fred McGriff? I get the dude at 48 homers. But he was not as good as Chili Davis. Man, screw you, Fred McGriff. Falcone got a few votes. That's nice. Tom Glavine. Damn, the White Sox are getting tough. It was literally only Chili Davis, not Don Mattingly. Well, George Bell did it 38 homers. Any Gold Gloves this year? Oh, Dick Schofield won again, as did Chili Davis. Nice. Chili Davis had about as good a season as you can have without winning the MVP. Who's in the draft pool? Because who we draft, I think, is going to determine a lot about what decisions we make next offseason. So Friday's episode, I think, is going to be a real tough one. Because we're going to have to make decisions. Unless Mattingly agrees to not opt out, which I highly doubt. A lot of good but not great players. I mean, the only one who was even close to the Hall of Fame was Kenny Lofton. There might be a couple of other players in there, though, that we just don't see yet. And if we ended up with Kenny Lofton, I would be very happy indeed. And Steve Finley's also a pretty good center fielder, too. Let's advance to free agency. Wow, Danny Tartable? Huh. We can't afford him. We can't remotely afford him. How's our salary looking? So we've got about $1 million for extension, about $660,000 for extension for free agents. We're gonna go dumpster diving. So what do we need? What do we need that we can get cheap? All right, I like the Meet the Team screen as a quick way to see where we need immediate upgrades. We need a second baseman. We currently don't have one on the... Wait, why don't we have a second baseman? Oh, I traded Tony Phillips for Cal Ripken. That's right. So we need a second baseman. We still need a good outfielder, and I think we could improve in relief. Yeah. Chuck Finley had a decent year in AAA. He's worth talking about. Being promoted. Dana Robinson can't play second, and he's kind of a shit hitter. Let's go ahead and explore the free agent market. Okay. Where's our second base? Keep going. Keep going. $250 for David Hibner. Hibner is a better version of Jay Greb. So that's a thing. I'd like someone who's at least like a mediocre hitter. Wow, we could just bring Jay Greb back. The sad part is that's not like the worst decision we've ever made. Man. This version of Ozzie Smith sucks. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to double check the league settings and see if we'd fixed... Yeah, here we go. The fielding is fixed, but it's not going to do anything. right now. This is a bad year for middle infielders, like real bad. Ironically, we could have used Luis Alicea. Chico Walker's not worth it. Juan Samuel's not worth it. Do we honestly just bring Jay Greb back? Or do we get at least a mediocre upgrade in like a Frank White? You know what? I want Frank White. I think Frank White's a good overall hitter. I know he's fragile. And it's important to pay attention to that kind of thing. But at this point, beggars can't be choosers. He's a cheap second baseman. Let's take him for 1 year with a 1-year option. I'm also... It's not lost me, by the way, that he costs more than Greb would. But he might get mad. He wants some kind of guarantee. Fine. This is fine. That's a good addition to the team. It's someone that I feel comfortable can start. Let's try to pick up a reliever or two. I'm not even going to waste our time on an outfielder. I could just bring Heckman back. Or I could get Dale Reese. No, I think actually we'll just bring Heckman back. He might even want to come back to us because of the... let's make this a 2-year deal. That's what we're going to focus on right now for free agency. Until we clear off some payroll somehow, that's about all we can move. This is going to be so bad. I can't... Unless Don Mattingly is the world's biggest team player, he will not keep this contract. He would be an idiot to do so. And I'd have to move a lot of pieces. We might lose Jim Rice. We might lose Eddie Bain. I think maybe we just make next year this is the year the team collapses. And see if we can ride it into a better team in the future. Because I think we need to bottom out if we're going to make any headway. Let's go ahead and sim forward a bit. Hall of Fame voting. Anyone cool? A lot of people aren't eligible. I'm going to vote for Bill Freehan. I still think he deserves to make it. I'm sorry, Stretch. You don't impress me that much. Boog Powell's honestly more impressive to me because at least he hit a bunch of home runs. But I'll vote for Bill Stoneman and Mel Stottlemyre Sr. I'm going to vote for Stretch. I think he's underrated a bit. I genuinely think no one's getting elected this year, by the way. I think this is a year they're just going to skip out on it. There we go. We will definitely look very carefully at the draft this year. Might even draft Luis Alicea. Because we have 2 first-rounders. And I think one's going to be at about the middle of the pack. Alright, Frank. First of all, you're not a shortstop. You're a second baseman. Second of all, you're on the main roster. As a 1-year buy, Frank White is a pretty decent player. Good all around, some value with the bat. There's a lot of worse people I could give 300 at bats to. If this season goes badly, we will make at least 1 trade during the season, maybe 2. You would send me 1 reliever. Mike Jackson is already better than he is. You would give me Leon Durham for Jim Rice. It's a 1-year rental for a player that's not as good as Jim Rice. That's just a bad deal. This is going to be Mike Jackson's year. I think Mike Jackson... I'm just going to go and put him on the 40-man. He deserves it. We got a bunch of crappy relievers, some of whom might walk, and I don't really care, but we will sort by potential, actually. Anson Jones can take a walk, and no one can dispute that. Ed Caballero. Yeah, there's just a lot of not good on this team. Yeah. We've had some bad drafts, and I think that's why we almost kind of have to tank if we don't win a world championship in the next couple seasons. No. I get that you think we need relief help. I am not giving away a young starter for a young reliever. That's stupid. That's just beyond dumb. Probably find a better reliever just in the bloody draft. Or just finally let Mike Jackson pitch. Jim Edmonds, he was a borderline Hall of Famer too. Good draft for center fielders. That's 3 of the best of... Well, calling Steve Finley one of the best of all time is a bit of an overstatement. But definitely 2 of the best would be Jim Edmonds and Kenny Lofton. So we're 25 and 26. Not what I was hoping for. But let's just skip right ahead and let's see what we can come up with. I would like very much to see all players, and I would like to see potential rating. We got Rico Brogna. That is definitely a player we could take. Rico's got power and discipline and nothing else. Now, I know in real life he's actually more of a contact hitter. For those of you that followed baseball in the late 90s, early 2000s, you may remember the name Mark Grace. Rico Brogna was Mark Grace at about the same time as Mark Grace. Eric Karros, Will Cordero, Neon Dion. Is there anyone who's like super major league ready? Bob Hamlin. Alright. Armando Verdugo is a good power hitting catcher with a decent amount of discipline. Whereas McCurchie has contact discipline and doesn't strike out, and is also a little bit more versatile. But is probably worse than we think he is. I do want a new backup catcher, and these guys are both pretty close to Major League ready. But I was hoping for more. Like, a lot more. I mean, Rico Brogna, in terms of potential, is about as good as it's going to get, but he's still very raw. Picking at the back end of the first round sucks. I mean, John Jaha, we looked at a couple of drafts ago. I still like him as a hitter. Maybe we'll take him in the second round. I'm not going to use a first-round draft pick on him. Pat Listash. Good speed, okay defense, not much of a hitter. Alright, we want the best raw bat in the draft. So let's start actually by searching by contact potential. And then we'll start filtering down. Will Cordero's got some jobs. Eric Karros is probably the best pure hitter, except for the strikeout bits. Trey McCoy. Yes. This is worthy of a first-round draft pick. He's a good all-around hitter. He plays center and right, so we could plug him in right now. Trey McCoy, welcome to the Toronto Blue Jays. Easy choice. I'm glad I sorted it this way. And guess who's got the second pick? And so now we'll go ahead and take the catcher. Because I do want a new backup catcher. And I think he's got some... Like, if we had to get rid of Chili Davis, I wouldn't be hugely disappointed by him filling in for a couple of seasons. Bam. Alright, next pick. If John Jaha's still around, I'm taking John Jaha, and there's nothing he can do to stop me. But he's not. Well, shit. Now we get to the players who aren't so good. I mean, Darryl Kyle would be a nice addition to our team. But he's also a high school pitcher that's going to want lots of money, and we can't afford that. Good old Pork Chop here is a decent hitter who doesn't have much contact. Who's the best player, like, who's ready, like, right now to play in the majors? Sure, I'll take Tony Duenas. He's not going to cost very much, and he might actually get to play right now. Alright, let's look at pitching potential. And we're looking for 2 numbers in the green or in the yellow. Arthur Rhodes. He might be an impossible. Yeah. He was a good reliever for a very long time in the majors. Let's take this Japanese guy. He seems cool. And now I think we just take the best players we can get our hands on, which isn't going to be much. I'm not paying $600 grand for Pork Chop despite his awesome name. We do need middle infield help. Let's start with the middle infielders. Russ Davis. Davis is not a bad hitter. But he's also a terrible defensive player. So there was a joke going on because Russ Davis used to play for the Giants. They put a giant glove in front of the Giants' old stadium, whatever it was called before Pac Bell, Candlestick. And the joke was that they would put a hole in the glove and call it Russ Davis. Russ Davis was a terrible third baseman. There's Ed Alisea. It's practically like getting Luis Alisea. He does play a lot of positions. And it's only a, fourth round pick. I'll take him. We can't afford to be too picky. Let's look at some more pitching. Let's look for control. That's what we don't have. Oh, it would help if we were looking at actual players. Here we go. I'm going to take Mark Kiefer. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's a high school guy. Confessor Castro. That is awesome. That is brilliant. I love that name. It's like the new version of the Punisher, but they don't want to get Marvel Comics involved. This is the Confessor. And he's like, he's got to be a priest, right? The Confessor would have to be a priest. He'd have like a rocket launcher. I kind of want to see that comic book now. Yes, I know, by the way, there's a comic book called Preacher, but I think there's a lot of legs to this. We'll take James Harris. He's free. Brock McMurray. Let's get a good power guy. Yeah, Leon Glenn. Very raw, but maybe there's some potential there. And I think we'll just go ahead and conclude the draft at this point, because there's really not a lot of diamonds in the rough. We either need to bottom out this year or win a championship, because I'm not convinced either other... If we finish another year where we're just good, I don't see that ending well for us. Alright, let's negotiate. And now we know our 2 first rounders are going to be expensive. That's to be expected. McCoy's actually going to start this year. I think I've already made that decision. Everyone else we'll talk to. We might not be able to sign all of our picks. We'll see what happens. I think it'll let us do it because it matters how much budget we've got left. There we go. And then we'll make this offer too. And everyone else can just go screw themselves. We're going to have to be creative about the Rule 5 draft too. The Rule Draft 5 draft is also another good place to find relievers. We got Heckman back. Hooray! And Confessor Castro. Rule 5. We're 21. I'll just sim ahead before I get too excited. I just lost Heckman. Didn't I? Oh, no, I did. I lost Whaley and Mac. I better put Heckman on the 40-man before someone takes him, and I signed him for no reason. Willie McGee hits for contact and plays decent, and he's also... But he only plays left. And his health is shit, but... Bob Dernier is an okay utility guy. These are not the kinds of players that you add to your team and like, yeah, championship. But... I mean, maybe like a Will McKechnie? Just somebody to eat some innings at the back end of the bullpen. I think maybe we take Willie McGee. Because if nothing else, he'll be a useful bat off the bench, and he plays a pretty good left field. So I think we'll take Willie McGee. And then I think we'll also take McEnany or whatever if he's still available. There we go. 2 Rule 5 drafters this year. They can all turn out to be David Ortiz, so... Or Johan Santana. Once again, I lose 2 crappy players I didn't want anyway. I bet I would have lost Heckman if I hadn't put him on the 40-man, but it's whatever. I know this wasn't the most thrilling offseason, but this is building into a season where we're going to have to make some big decisions. If I don't just not get re-signed. All right, so right away, Trey McCoy is getting an invite to spring training. Because his bat is already extremely polished, and that's what we drafted him for. Same for the catcher, too. We're going to wait till spring training. But why couldn't... Okay, was I just insane? I did not see Tom Seaver someone I could vote for, or Catfish Hunter. I think there's some small bug in the way they elect people to the Hall of Fame, because I never saw Tom Seaver. Maybe you saw him and you're like, ugh, Avindian, why aren't you voting for him? But that's... yeah, whatever. Let's go up to... We're just going to sim straight to spring training. I mean, I don't see any reason to stop in the preseason. A personal message. I'm not going to get any compensation picks. That's fine. Yeah, one of 2 things needs to happen this year. Number 1, we need to flame out. It needs to be a spectacular failure that I somehow don't get fired for, which I'm pretty sure I would. Number 2, we need to win a world championship. If we're anywhere in the middle, we're going to have to basically decide we need to punt on a season. And it's going to be ugly and it's going to be brutal, but we have to do it. Alright. Oh, wow, we got a crap ton of extra money now. Where the hell did that come from? Did my owner just like go insane and be like, have all the money? Maybe I don't have to make a tough decision. Maybe I can keep both Dave Stewart and Dom Mattingly. Could I get Mattingly to sign a new extension now? No, he wants to wait until I give him a chance to opt out. I could try to re-sign Falcone, but he's getting old. Okay, let's not blow that money right now. Let's wait. Because if I got to crank out $2 million a year to keep Mattingly, I will. Just straight up. We got a little bit more money now, too, for free agents. So if there's like a good free agent left, we can take a splash at either a second baseman or an outfielder. We could get Juan Samuel. The problem is he's kind of a terrible second baseman, but he's a good hitter with good steals. He's also fragile, though. Lonnie Smith. No. Dave Stuber. How are we doing for relievers right now? Give me pitcher ratings, please. He would still be a fairly considerable upgrade over what we've already got. So yeah, we will go ahead and toss a contract to Stuber. Do we sign? No. I really don't think Juan Samuel... I'll give you a 2-year deal. That's a pretty cheap one. I really don't think Juan Samuel is the right move. Darrell Evans would be interesting if he played a position other than third base, which you've already got locked up with Cal Ripken. William Patton? Yes. We need outfielders. Let's look at the outfielders. Lonnie Smith. Good center fielder, constantly hurt. If it's a 1-year deal, I'm going to try it. Oh, no, you get 1 year. I'm not giving you more than that. This is just, I've got extra money to burn on free agents. Lonnie Samuel would represent a fairly reasonable upgrade over what I've currently got in center field. Yeah. Frank Viola's a good pitcher. Rod Beck is interesting, but you want Cal Ripken. Huh. Can we make this deal more intriguing? Can I get another prospect or two? I would trade Cal Ripken. Okay, Luis Alicea. Oh, how delicious. No. Alicea is too much. Oh, you want to dump salary. That's your objective. No, this isn't a good enough deal. I'm gonna keep my current players. I would move Cal for the right deal. Well, we got Patton. You're close to offended. The hell are you being such a dick for? Oh, shit. I've got so much money left in free agency. Like, this doesn't hurt the most important thing, which is my ability to make extensions after this season. I would pay you $750, but I won't pay you more than that. If you take it, you take it. If you don't, you don't. Oh, we got Stuber, too. Excellent. He's a much more reasonable fellow. Yeah, because we'll keep Mattingly in left. Willie McGee will fill in every now and again. I could just promote that one rookie and then not bother with Lonnie Smith. But I still hold some tiny hopes that someday we might actually get a good trade out of this. You're going to give me Leon Durham. Who could play center? He's a free agent. No. How much more money do you want? No. I don't care if it is playing with the house money. No. I don't want to lose Pascual Perez. I would give you Blaine Lockley. Let me drop Perez. What else could I offer you? Not Jim Rice. Not any of my really good players. You're thin on prospects. What do I got in terms of prospects I could consider offering you? Ed Correa is not actually wouldn't be a bad one. Let's toss him in here. It's gone up to not very good. Nah, he still don't want anything I'm willing to part with. Nope. Let's continue. Up to spring training. I genuinely don't care who signs Lonnie Smith now. You're a fucking lunatic thinking that you would get that much money. Man, that's what I offered you, like $100,000 less than that, and you wanted to sign with Baltimore. Man, screw you. You dick. Patton gets an invite. McKercher gets an invite. McCoy gets an invite. Who else? How did Chuck Finley do in the minors last year? He did really, really well. Like, really well. I'm going to give him a shot in spring training. Not really anyone else here or in AA that really gets me all hot and bothered. Okay. And as usual, we'll have our good friend, the bench coach, set all the things right now. Just all the things. What? No. I mean, he wouldn't be the worst choice in center field, but that seems a really bad decision. Just so you can put McKercher in the lineup. You know what? I don't care. It's spring training, but still. Bench coach, put together the staff, if you would. What do you like John Mitchell so much for? Where did I get John Mitchell? Like, where did you come from? Oh, I drafted you. Oh, okay. Cool. Let's sim spring training. Yeah, fuck you, Lonnie Smith. Oh, yeah. Hey, we beat the Yankees in the first day of spring training. And that's on a sign we're going to the World Series. I don't know what is. Really, Dave? Really? How are you out 3 months with a hamstring injury? I mean, I'm not a medical doctor, but it seems to me that 3 months with a hamstring is kind of excessive. The hell were you doing anyway? Man. No. I am not giving away Don Mattingly for Alan Trammell. Not saying I don't like Alan Trammell. Or Michael Day for that matter, but no. For a player like Don Mattingly, I would want almost literally the better part of a farm system. I do need a center fielder. But do I need a center fielder more than I need Jim Rice? So in center field, he's a significant upgrade. And it also leaves DH open. And I'm probably not going to re-sign. But you know what? It's to the Yankees, and they're in my division. So while I'm not opposed to trading Jim Rice, I think trading him to the Yankees would be short-sighted at best. I really wish you'd stop emailing me every time someone might be injured. No, I'm not making the Yankees better, and I think Jim Rice... Oh, that's the Mets. Shit. Wrong team. Oh well. Bump Willis is crap. Michael Day is pretty good. How did you get Michael Day? You must have just traded him. Yeah, I mean, Bump Wills isn't that great a player. I'm more comfortable with having Frank White play second base for a year. Well, there goes one of my offseason moves. I didn't make that many. Who got better? A few people did. Anderson got better in some respects. McKercher actually got quite a bit better. What about Trey McCoy? He put on... Wow. He got a lot better. Like, a lot better. Dang. Alright, I think that's going to end the episode. This is kind of a holding pattern type off-season. We wanted to make marginal improvements, and I think we made some. And then next season, we're going to make a big decision or two. Because I have the feeling that Don Mattingly is going to opt out. If any player on the Blue Jays is worth like $2 million a year, it's Don Mattingly. And I will make him that offer without a second's hesitation. He's been durable. He's won 5 out of the past 6 batting titles. We're not going to get better than Mattingly in the draft, no matter how hard we try. But other players, like Dave Stewart's becoming a problem. I think if he opts out, we might not re-sign him and just take the draft pick. But we'll see. Until next time, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and comment down below. We made some improvements. I don't know if it's enough to make the World Series, but we'll certainly give it the old college try. Until next time, this has been Avindian, and I bid you good day.